6 runs, you know, where the horse is almost, you know, but they have to be really super fit. But to play 20-goal polo, 16-goal polo, 8 minutes of a good momentum, and then a couple of runs where they change the win. Kachi.
Have you ever fallen out of love with the game?
No, well, you know, one thing, when I asked my father, I was your age, I said, I want to play polo, I want to play polo, I want to play polo, I want this guy to let me play, I said, son, one day you're going to say, I don't want to play polo, you know, anymore. And sometimes you get exhausted, you know, sometimes it's very demanding, very tiring. And probably my biggest fault as a player, and if I was going to do it again, what I would change in my career, it would have been stay fresher. You know, I overdid it. I overworked myself. I exhaust myself with the training. And now, if I was going to do something differently, it would be stay fresh. Go to the game with the thing of, you know, playing with an edge, you know, with a gusto, with a energy. And sometimes I remember going to the game and I said, oh, you know, all I have to do today is play 6 shockers. Because before I would have to ride 20 horses, play 2 practice games, stick and bowl a horse after the game, blah, blah. But it was my nature, and that was a mistake I made in my career. So you have to be balanced, moderation. The same thing with the horses. You know, it's like sometimes you need to stick and bowl 4 or 5 horses a day. Sometimes you only have to stick and bowl 2 horses. But with momentum, you know, with timing, moving, walking, stick and bowling at a standing still ball is no good. You need to move, practice. It's better to practice 10 minutes, 15 minutes at a good pace than 2 hours just striking the ball at a lope, you know. But no, I have never fallen in, you know, falling out of love with the game. I love it. I have, you know, I have my son Julio playing, and I love watching him play. And I see Carlos play, and I see games, and I see new players, and I see now in my stage of my career, I go to see horses. I say, what new horses are in this season? I don't want to care about the players, you know. I want to see who has a champion horse. That's what I'm really interested. The players, I know they're great players, all of them, and the level, you know, they're there. But I want to see who has the best champion this year. Who made the champion? That's the difficult part.
What are the small tips that you received when you were sort of rising as playing that sort of changed your whole game? You know, they're easy things that you were epiphany.
Well, the thing was in very simple terms. I think the tips that you have to practice now is to practice what you play, or you know, what the game is all about. Going back to stick and bowling, you need to stick and bowl at a good pace. You need to stick and bowl the difficult shots, the ones that you never use. That's the ones that you need to practice. The going forward shot, it's the easiest one, but this is the one that you probably need to practice the least. You need to practice all the other shots at all times. So, number 1, practice what you use in the game. 2, with determination. If you're going to practice, go to practice. You know, you see in the professional tennis players, professional basketball players, professional soccer players, when they go to work. I mean, I remember seeing a documentary about Michael Jackson. The guy, he was the worst doing this shot, and he practiced so much that he became the best at it, you know. So it's the same with me, you know, the same with me. I had problems with my near side backhander. When I practiced that shot, the forward and near side backhander, until it became near side, I was one of the best. But at the beginning, I was one of the worst. So you need to practice that. But you need to practice with determination, and I'm on to practice, and I'm on to practice, and I'm on to practice until you get it. Near side, backhanders. What shot you didn't make in the game? What part of the game you didn't, it's missing, or you have a weakness on it. Work on that, and think about it, you know, and watch the game. I say, like, to ride a man off. Where do I ride the man off? I go to the shoulder, I go to the head, I go to the back. You know, you have to go to the shoulder of the horse to make contact, to ride them off, to get your mother ready. Watch the games. Watch the things that you will practice and you will execute and you will do. But you need to do it with energy. You know, you see a lot of players stick and bowling with, you know, just with a loose rein and stick and ball like that. It's like, that's a waste of time. They can do it for 100 years. They're never going to improve. When you see them riding and your seat. The other thing that you want to learn about the game, you know, tips, is training with gusto, and also your seat, your position. Your position has to be the half seat, which all of you know. The half sit, and maintain that half sit, with your knees, and stay up in the saddle. Stick and ball and riding. Then you have very nice legs and very strong legs. But that's what you need to do, Full sit, stick and balling like that is not good. So you need to get up in the saddle and start practicing at speed, where you can carry the ball at a certain speed, I'm not saying flat out, but just a certain speed where you feel comfortable. And then in the game, at that speed, you're going to be able comfortable to carry it. But if you stick and ball at a walk and then you got a full speed in the game, you're going to miss it every time, right? And the third time is the horsemanship, riding the horses to the same thing, to get in the turns, stopping, turning, running, to make it, to get the most out of your horse. So you're working yourself and you're working the horse.
Just the horse thing, for right now, I don't have my own horses, so I'm always riding other people's horses.
Yes.
How do you sort of get in touch with that horse? You get on and you have a minute to warm up. How do you get the best out of a horse that you don't know necessarily?
Well, it's, number one, be careful when you don't know horses. So you have to be very alert, and you have to ride the horse like the horse, always be at the guard, always protect yourself, always with the rein short until you get the feeling of the horse that the horse is fine. I mean, a little bit dramatic about that, but that's how accidents happen. So you have to be always alert, number one. Don't hit the ball the first time. Ride the horse first to make sure that the horse is not bucking, it doesn't have any bad habits, or etc., 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 etc. That's very important. Number two, then when you get the feeling on the horse that the horse is safe, then you start riding the horse with confidence, but riding like if the horse is a good horse. The horse is a very sensitive animal. So if you ride him with roughness and insecurity and double guessing and jerking, the horse is going to say like, I need to protect myself. This guy is, I don't know what he's going to do. So the horse starts tensing and getting stiff and they don't want to cooperate. But if you ride him light, once you have confidence on the horse, then the horse starts relaxing and starts feeling the same thing. The same sensation that you're receiving, the horse is receiving. Oh, somebody's a good rider, is easy with his hands. He's not going to pull in my head, he's not going to pull in my mouth. He's going to let me be free and let me play to their limitations, But ride him with confidence that the horse can do it. Give him confidence. That's the best way to get the most out of the horse. Don't overdo it, don't force it, don't do something that is going to upset the horse, right? Nick?
When you're creating a 20-goal team and you're looking at younger players and considering horses being somewhat comparable, what specific playing attributes are most important to you?
Well, yeah, when you're trying to pick players, the first thing you want to see is that they're good horsemen. Why? Because the good horseman is going to be able to ride better horses and is going to get the most out of their horses. If a guy has a lot of talent and hits the ball very well, when you go into the 20-goal polo or the high-goal polo or the professional polo, your horsemanship is your most important tool. Because if you're not a good horseman and if you don't ride the horse well, you're not going to get there. It doesn't matter how badly you want it or how desperate you are. So they have to be good riders. They have to have some, riding with sensitivity, with the finesse, with confidence that the horses are good and they can ride a good horse. So if I'm going to choose two players, I'm always going to choose the one that who is the best horseman, the one that has the best horse sense, that the one that has to improve in his game. He's going to get better with experience and with the horsemanship. Horsemanship is the most important thing in the game.
I guess, what has been your most difficult green horse experience, or maybe your most problematic horse to train, and what have you done to remedy that?
Well, very good question. Very good question, isn't it? There are different horses, I have had some experience in horses that probably the most breaking point on my career was a horse called Zipper. And it was a horse that I spent a year and a half trying to teach him to stick and ball. And every time he saw the ball, he will charge, he will get a grab of the bit. Endless stamina. You could play him for 2 hours or ride him for 2 hours, the horse will not miss a bit. He was just like a powerful machine. And I stick and ball him and stick and ball him and stick and ball him. The more stick and ball him, the worse he got. So I said, what do I do with this horse? I said, the ball upsets him, the swing upsets him, the mallet upsets him, everything upsets him, And I was this close to get rid of him, or do it. So I said, well, I only, I stick and ball him from the ground, but the mallet was the thing that upsets him. And some horses, when you put him in the competition, when you put him with other horses, then the horses, they start focusing on the other horses in the game, in the thing, and they actually relax. There are horses that are on their own, they get very nervous, especially when they come out from the racetrack, they get excited, and they panic, they get a little bit paranoid about the racing, about the bad experience. And sometimes when you put them with the competition, they settle down. Well, this horse, I decided to put him in a fast practice game. I said, I'm not going to put him in the slow practice game because I know it's not going to work. So I'm going to put him in a fast practice game. And I went to it, and he became one of my best horses ever. We won the US Open together, we won the $100,000 in Royal Palm, we won endless amount of tournaments. And this horse was, until the last day of his polo career, he was always bucking and feeling fresh coming to the game. But if I have not taken the chance on the horse, I would have never been able to have a super champion, one of the best horses I ever ridden in my life. So there are horses that sometimes they are not learning. It's not like they're not learning, they're not understanding what you want them. Whether they don't turn to the right, or they don't play, or they don't stick and ball. So you have to find a way to think about how to get it to understand. It's not that the horse doesn't want to do it, it's that they don't understand. The horse came from the racetrack. He came from I think he came from Utah, in the West. And those racetracks are the worst, the worst horses, the worst riders, the worst horsemen. And this horse was abused. So this horse, every time he saw something swinging or whips or something, he would get so excited. But once you put him in the competition, the horse calmed down. And what can I tell you? It was just one of the things that I tried something and it happened. There are horses that sometimes you have to do it from the ground. It doesn't work on their backs. You have to go to the ground. Start from the basics. To teach him to back up on the ground, to teach him to move their hindquarters from the ground, to teach him to respect you from the ground. So sometimes you have to go to basics. Why the horse something is upsetting him. One thing that it took me a long time to understand is like when the horses don't do it, it's because they are either sore, most of the time, they have some pain somewhere, or they're not understanding what you want them to do. So you have to change sometimes the training, so the horse understands what are you asking him. Bill?
How do you deal with the difficult loss?
Difficult
Loss.
of a horse?
No, of a game.
Of a game? I was the worst loser ever. It took me probably a month. If after I lost a game, I will play it in my head what were the mistakes. I never said, they beat me. I said I lost the game. I lost the game. What did I do wrong? What could I do to change that result? You play the game in your head, and you have to go and think about how to improve it. Why did you lose it? You lost a penalty, you make a foul, you make the wrong decision, you didn't mark your man, you didn't do what you were told to do, you made the horse list the wrong way, you play your good horse, or you didn't, etc. There are a million things that goes into the game. But the important factor here, Bill, is like when you go into the game, don't go with the fear of losing the game. Go with the attitude of you're going to play your best game, you're not going to make mistakes, you're going to play better than the last game, and the result is secondary. Don't look at the score. Don't think about the score. Execute your plays, execute your game, execute your plan. When you do that and you do it correct and proper, the result is going to be secondary, and most of the times, I almost guarantee it's going to be in your favor. So it's a reverse psychology. When you lose, try to make clear your mistakes, but when you go into the next game, try to play better than the last game you play. Time out.
Can you talk about conformation real quick on horses? What's your favorite type of conformation?
Well, it has changed. It has changed because at the beginning we didn't have any money, so we have to pick whatever horse we can get, and it was all sizes, all kinds of types. But I think what you want to look into the polo pony is the balance in a horse. There are some horses that are a little bit larger than others, but you want a horse that is balanced, meaning that the horse is it has harmony in the body. If the horse has a big head and a small butt, or short legs and a big body, or long neck and a short back. That doesn't work. If you have a horse that has harmony, it's, you know, you want him to be compact. You said you want a compact horse. You don't want a compact horse that is a chunk, you know, kind of hits the ground and you feel like you are having 4 flat tires and everything vibrates, you know. That's no good. You want a horse that is fluid, that it has some kind of a elasticity when he's playing polo. But it has to be with harmony, it has to be balanced. You want the angle of the neck in polo is very important. You know, one thing is I always look into the horse's neck. How is the horse's neck, the joint, you know, the angle. If it is too, you know, U-neck, high-headed horse, probably it's not going to be a good horse. If it is too low horse, sometimes it's going to be difficult to make, you know, because the horse is going to be hard for him to get in on the hindquarters. So you want a horse that has a good angle, the neck and shoulders are well put together, and then the rest of the horse has to be with harmony. It has to have a good back, short cannon bones, you know, short pasterns, but not in a way that it goes to the other extreme, you know. But you want a horse with harmony. I don't know if I explain myself, but that's what you're looking at.
Talk about dealing with patrons. I mean, all these guys are starting to learn more, and I can ask that question because I try to be one. But I think a lot of these young players are trying to figure out how they work with them, how to get them involved in tournaments, how to help the patrons who are obviously here who want to play and continually be better. What are some tips that you might give them?
Well, the patrons are people that are very intelligent people. They can see. They're more intelligent than the professionals, you know, by far, because obviously they've been very successful in their career and their lives. So they can see all the details, the small details. The smart people, they see details, small details, you know, about punctuality, working ethics, appearance, consistency, and all that stuff. So what I'm trying to say to you is that when you want to approach a patron, and the patron tells you to be there at 7 o'clock, don't be at 7:01. Be at 6:45. Be always ahead of him. Be always anticipating, you know. All those little details, it will show into your future in a relationship with him. And that's very important, you know. Always, people joke to me about my boots. They were always the shiniest and the cleanest and the blah, blah, blah. I said, you know what, but it's respect to the game and respect to the people that you're working for. And respect to yourself, because if you don't have time to clean your boots, just imagine the rest of your body. It's like if you're going to play ball, that's what you're showing. Imagine what you're not showing. You know, it's like a little bit of a, but it's the truth of the matter, you know. So you always have to present yourself, give the best impression, give the best presentation of yourself. And when you're playing polo, you have to be a good teammate on and off the field. It doesn't matter if you're 10 goals, 8 goals, or 1 goal, or 0 goals. It's to be a good teammate. If they ask you to do one thing, to do the other one, to be attentive, to be responsive, to be alert, to be all that, you know, it's very important. And one of the things here with, and I'm going to give you an example, is for instance the Argentine people compared to the American people or the English people. The Argentines, they are devoted to their patron, you know, they do whatever they want him to, you know, they are 24/7, I mean 24/7, they are constant with them. And we have the tendency to say, well, I'm not going to be a slave, I'm not going to be this, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to extremes, I'm going to the things. I'm talking about the job sense. That when you want to do something, do it with passion and do it with determination and dedication. And times, places, working, preparation, approach, the way you present yourself, the way you talk to them, the way you direct to them, everything has to be in a professional manner. Because you want to be professionals. You want to be invited to the team. So that's very important, very, very important for all of you to understand. To approach patrons how to play polo, it's, in a way, you need the help with players. Players will get you to the patrons. There is always a line of, you know, people between the patron and the guys. So you have to approach the players first and make yourself available to do something for them. You know? And I have some experience with you, with Mason and some of you, but it's like, it's a difficult topic because it's a professional world and they're always looking for the better player, you know, the ringer, the best player, the best underrated player. And you guys have to fight against each other to get that position. But you have to start from within yourself. to be ready for that opportunity, you know, and to be hungry about it. And when they give you the opportunity, you have to be 24/7. You have to be ready to execute and ready to do what they're asking you to do. I don't know if I answer your question, but it's a little bit of the professional point. That's what it is. It's ruthless. You know, it's one thing that the patron invites you to play in the summer polo and relax, but it's the same thing, you know. A lot of players, a lot of young players, you ask them to be there at 3 o'clock and they get there at 5 till 10, running, rushing. I said, what else do you have to do, you know? Anticipate, make sure that all the things are covered to get there 1 hour before or 2 hours before the game. It doesn't matter. Be there. Don't wait for a flat tire. Don't wait for a horse that didn't load. Don't wait for any incident that was going to make you late to an appointment or to a game or to a thing. And I'm giving you examples that are very simple to understand, but that's what it takes. That's what it made a professional, you know. You give when you become a professional player, it's like it's not because I make money. It's because I'm dedicated to it. You know, in the morning, in the afternoon, at night, you're planning, you're organizing. Why do we have, when I first started playing polo in the United States, we only have 1 groom per player. I said, why don't we have 2 grooms per player so the horse are better to take care of? So I was the first one that started with 2 grooms. The horses were better. In the big scale of things, you know, 1 groom doesn't make the difference. You know, it's small quantity of money. Then when you start using spare horses, I started with that because we were playing, you know, leagues and long seasons. So you want those horses to preserve and to last for the longest. So you start sprint. Now everybody does it. You know, why do you bring your own farrier with your team or your own vet? Because you have access, you have, you know, your protection. So all these things is like, what can you do to make yourself better? Is the preparation, the organization, the training, the whole thing. And sometimes you have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and do it, you know. But that's what it takes to become 10 goals or to become a champion player. All champion players, they have to do that. There is not the one that was put on the thing and say, okay, you're a champion. As simple as that.
Thank you, that was good.
Well, thank you very much. I think I confused you enough. But one thing I want to tell you is that I'm very excited that you guys are here, and thank you for coming. And anything I can do to help you in your polo careers, you're welcome. And I make myself accessible. And in any way, shape, or form, I would like to help you and to achieve your dream. And hopefully we can get some Tango players out of this table. So you guys are welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much.